Climate change and how to battle it has been a big global topic in 2019, and the debate has been led by a teenager from Sweden. CGTN's Nicole Johnston has more.
Thousands of people took to the streets of major capitals across Europe, first in April and then in October. They're all part of a movement called Extinction Rebellion. 60 cities around the world, 2 weeks of civil disobedience, from Madrid to Berlin, Paris to Amsterdam. A grave warning against impending environmental disaster. In London, demonstrators gathered in more than a dozen different locations. One former Paralympian even climbed on top of a plane at City Airport. British police arrested more than 1,400 people and closed down the protests, confining them to a tent camp at Leicester Square.
What do you want to achieve? We are showing that we cover a whole cross-section of ages and parts of the community and people who are all horrified and full of grief about what is happening to the planet.
These are the tactics of some of the Extinction Rebellion protesters to close down main roads in London. Overall, it's been a largely peaceful protest. The real challenge will be making sure they don't lose public support by causing too much chaos and disruption in central London. And a teenager has become an international symbol of youth action against climate change.
This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
16-year-old Swedish activist Greta Thunberg has gained a global following. It started in 2018 when she began demonstrating outside the Swedish Parliament every Friday. In 2019, she travelled to New York in a zero-carbon emissions sailing boat across the Atlantic and delivered a scathing assessment of the world's response to climate change at the United Nations.
We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth.
In December, the United Nations held major climate talks in Madrid. There was no breakthrough, but an agreement to hold more talks in Glasgow next year, with new climate targets. Meanwhile, scientists and activists released alarming reports about the state of the environment. A new study found that Greenland's ice is melting faster than expected, and sea levels could rise 67 centimetres over the next 80 years. If Greenland continues to lose ice at its current rate, scientists warn around 400 million people will be exposed to coastal flooding every year by the end of the century. All this news came while Australia experienced one of the worst bushfire seasons since it started keeping records. Fires surrounded major cities like Sydney, and air pollution reached dangerous levels. In Venice, the mayor said climate change was behind the highest tides in 50 years, and the damage would leave a permanent mark on the Italian city. Europe has responded to the threat with a new Green Deal.
We want Europe as the first climate-neutral continent.
If all EU countries agree, it will be a major policy overhaul, re-evaluating every part of the European economy. But as 2019 draws to a close, even climate activists need to take a break. And Greta Thunberg, Time magazine's Person of the Year, is heading home to Sweden for holidays. Nicole Johnston, CGTN, London.